Hey guys, I just wanted to go over some things with 10.8 with you. Specifically, let's remember what we learned on Friday. On Friday, I talked to you about what's called the discriminant. Let's write down the quadratic formula first because the discriminant, remember, is part of the quadratic formula. It is x equals negative b plus or minus square root b squared minus 4ac over 2a. And please recall that the portion of the quadratic formula that is called the discriminant is this piece right here. What it does is it helps us to determine how many solutions there are to a problem. So if our discriminant turns out to be a negative number, it means that there's no solution because you cannot take the square root of a negative. If it ends up being positive, it means there will be two solutions because we're taking the plus or minus. There will be a positive and a negative version of the answer. And then if it equals 0, it means there's one solution. Because remember, if you add or subtract 0, it's the same answer no matter what. So you only have one solution for that. Okay, so I want to go over a couple of the homework problems. I'm looking at page 660 in your textbook, and I'm actually going to do some of the problems that are assigned to you for homework. Okay, so write these things down. The first thing I want to look at is number 7. It's pretty simple. The directions say, tell whether the equation has two solutions, one solution, or no solution. So you have three possible answers for this question. Number 7 says 25p squared minus 16p equals 0. So what we're going to do is we're going to plug our a, b, and c values into the discriminant formula, which is b squared minus 4ac. Okay? Our b value is negative 16, so this is negative 16 squared. The negative is inside the parentheses, remember, because that's the whole piece for b. We're going to subtract 4 times 25 times c. And if you notice, our c value is actually 0. There is no c value. So what this means is we have negative 16 squared, which is 256, and we're going to subtract 0 from that. So what this means is we're going to end up with positive 256 as our discriminant. Okay, our discriminant equals 256. Please don't confuse this with the actual answer. This is not what x equals. This is the discriminant. This is what would be underneath the square root. Because it's positive, we have two solutions. So your answer for number 7 on the homework would be 2 solutions. Okay? Let's look at number 9. Number 9 says 1/4 z squared plus 2 equals z. Okay, and I wanted to show you this one because I want to remind you that the only way we know what the a, b, and c values are is to first set it equal to 0. This is not equal to 0. So the first step here is to subtract z on both sides. Now we have 1/4 z squared minus z plus 2 equals 0. Now we have an a, b, and c value. Okay, so we can plug these into the discriminant to find out how many solutions there are to this equation. Our b value is negative 1, so we're going to end up with negative 1 squared, because remember it's b squared, minus 4 times 1/4 times 2. 4 times a times c. Negative 1 squared is just 1. 4 times 1/4 is 1, times 2 is 2. So we have a negative 2. 1 minus 2 equals negative 1. So since our discriminant is negative, it means there must be no solution. Okay? And then I just want to point out to you that the next couple of sections of problems ask you to do basically the same thing, it's just worded differently. For instance, numbers 16 through 24, it says to find the number of x-intercepts of the graph of the function by using the discriminant. It says or by factoring. So you can either see whether this is factorable or use the discriminant, but it's the same idea. Just remember that when we're finding the x-intercepts, it's when y equals 0. So you just put a 0 in there for y. Then 25 through 30 says to find the number of roots of the polynomial, and it's the same idea again. You've got a trinomial there, and you just use your a, b, and c values for that. The next thing I'd like to do is number 41, which is a word problem about biology. It's on page 661. Okay, so let's take a look at number 41. It's on page 661. This is one of your homework assignment problems, so you might as well write it down. It says biology. The amount y in milliliters per gram of body mass per hour of oxygen consumed by a parakeet during flight can be modeled by the function y equals 0.06 x squared minus 4x plus 87, where x is the speed in kilometers per hour of the parakeet. So basically what they're saying is the speed of the parakeet will determine how much oxygen it consumes. Part A says to use the discriminant to show that it is possible for a parakeet to consume 25 milliliters of oxygen per gram of body mass per hour. Whew, there are a lot of words there, but you should be able to make your way through those. Honestly, it's not important for you to understand the biology or the chemistry of how a parakeet uses oxygen. It's important for you to understand the math and how to plug the numbers into the formula. So let's do that. Let's see, we are proving that it is possible for a parakeet to consume 25 milliliters. So I'm going to put 25 in for my y value because it said that the y value represents the amount of oxygen consumed by the parakeet. I'm going to set it equal to our equation, which is 0.06 x squared minus 4x plus 87. And then I'm just going to find the discriminant. It says to prove whether there's a solution or not. So I'm going to use the discriminant to do that. Remember that we need to make sure we set it equal to 0 first, so we have an a, b, and c value that are accurate. So I'm going to subtract 25 on both sides of the equation. And there we go. And then now that I have an a, b, and c value, I can plug them into the discriminant formula, which is b squared minus 4ac. B value is -4, so this is going to be -4 squared minus 4 times a, which is 0.06, times c, which is 62. Okay, and I did this math already. 16 is our value here, we know. And this answer
please open your doors so
is
that people can come in. Thank you.
1.12. We're going to have negative 1.12. So 16 minus 1.1. No, I'm sorry. I was distracted by the PA. Hope you weren't. 14.88. So those of you who are raising your hand to correct me, thank you. 14.88 is the value here, and then when I subtract that is when I get 1.12. So because my discriminant turns out to be a positive answer, I know that there are two solutions, which proves that there is a time when the parakeet will consume 25 milliliters. Okay? That's part A. For part B, it says to find the speeds at which the parakeet consumes 25 milliliters. And so what that means is we're just finding the x values now. We're finding the actual solutions. Well, what I can do is I can use the fact that I already know my discriminant is 1.12 and plug that into the quadratic formula.
Oh, sweetie, what's up?
B squared minus 4ac equals 1.12. We figured that out before. Now all we have to do is plug in the values for B and A. Go ahead and do that on your own. I'm going to write down the solutions for you so that you can check your answers. Okay. X equals 24.5 kilometers per hour or 42.2 kilometers per hour. It asked you to round to the tenths place, so make sure you did that. If you did the math correctly, this is what you should have gotten. Hope you have a good day. Bye.